sir.
Absolutely. Already. Okay. So today we're here on another episode of Coach's Corner. We got another one of the great coaches around the city of Baltimore and the state of Maryland in the DMV area. Some know him by his program, some know him by his face, some know him by his work. But we gonna let him know. We gonna call him coach of the stars, right? This coach has been working with the youth, working with kids that went on to go professional. Just a little brief introductory. I didn't really meet him until recently, but I played against him. I was always impressed with how his kids was well trained. Seemed like every time I played against him, the kids got better, which I was always wondering like, damn, what is he doing over there, right? Like I said, come to find out a little bit later, he was training and had his own gym and got a lot going on, man. So that's my brief introductory. We're gonna let this coach give you his own introduction about himself. So Coach Bullock, thank you for being here today. Thank you for blessing us with your presence today. A lot of people, like I said, they know of you, and we know you work with a lot of kids, but for the ones that don't know you, we want to give them a little in-depth scoop today.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
Man, I appreciate you guys having me, man. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak. Just a little brief introduction about myself. Grew up in West Baltimore. We grew up in a pretty decent neighborhood in West Baltimore. It was Calvin Heights, which was the block we lived on, but that's like a pocket somewhere between Poplar Grove and Emerson Avenue. So nobody really said they from Calvin Heights. You know what I'm saying? They always either from an Emerson Avenue type of situation in West Baltimore, Poplar Grove, Winchester Apartments. So that was the area that I grew up in. Grew up in a pretty stable household. I had a two-parent household. I had three older brothers and a younger sister, and me being the youngest boy. And just, grew up in the West Baltimore neighborhood as athletes. My brothers were athletes. They primarily played baseball and they excelled at that. So for myself, I kind of took on the same steps that they took and pursued baseball the same way that they did. And so I was kind of natural in the baseball realm because I had an opportunity to see so many of my brothers before me kind of play at a high level. So it kind of was natural for me to do that. And so when we moved in that neighborhood, James Mosier was a huge baseball organization in that neighborhood, and Little League baseball organization. So my brothers and I used to practice every day on that behind the field, behind the home run fence. And the kids was always playing in the leagues every year. So when I moved in that neighborhood, I was like 5 years old. And I think that league went up until 12. You could be 12 to play in that league. But my brothers, they never played. None of my brothers played in the Little League. I was the only one that had the opportunity to play. Reason why we didn't play because we didn't want to ask our parents for the money, right? So that time, $25 was a lot of money for 5 kids. So nobody wanted to ask for the money. And my last year that I was eligible to play, I played, so everybody was kind of anticipating the Bullock, youngest kid playing in the league, being around the neighborhood for so long, but not playing. And, pretty much represented the family name for that first year that I ended up playing in that James Mosier League. So, grew up playing a lot of sports, and my brothers really were a big impact into me being an athlete that I became moving forward. Yep.
Okay, so in between the middle of Emerson Avenue and Poplar Grove.
Yeah.
So, you know how we do it in the urban community. Somebody had to claim you. So, which side would we say we've been leaning to? So you saying you was right there with the window?
So let me tell you. Let me
Winchester Apartments.
Winchester Apartments, because James Mosier was right there. Right. So if I had to claim something, right. Winchester Apartments is my closest little sector, you feel me?
Okay.
So, but Poplar Grove guys would always come, still in the area to play baseball for the James Mosier League. So he was always interacting with that community. Guys from Emerson Avenue would come up and play in the James Mosier League. So we was all familiar with each other based off of our, you know, interaction playing in the baseball leagues and basketball leagues as well, you know, like the NBL and stuff like that.
Okay, so Calvin Heights, what we would call the Winchester, Winchester Apartments community. So, you said you started playing baseball. You said the league went up until 12.
Mm-hmm.
So at the age of 12, what was the next move?
So then you would go to Pony League, but the Pony League didn't play in that particular home field. So we would travel. That was more travel baseball. So, I played travel baseball, and ironically, talking about that now, I'm just thinking about something tragic that really happened during the time. I broke my arm playing baseball. I was a pitcher, and so I was throwing a lot of curveballs at an early age, which you're not supposed to do. But had a really good curveball, pretty decent pitcher, and that's what I enjoyed doing. And one day my arm just snapped. Right, so I don't have full range of motion in my right arm. So that was huge, man, because, I think everybody kind of thought that I might have had a real shot, at the next level for baseball as a pitcher. But then when this injury happened, it really kind of changed a lot of things, right? I never recovered from it. So it really affected me as an athlete, because you got to think about it. You don't have full range of motion of your dominant hand,
right?
Especially at basketball. So trying to turn the ball over in a layup, getting full extension on a follow through, you know what I'm saying? Some of that stuff impacted me playing, but I played through it. Not as a kid, not really thinking about down the line how that would impact, but it did. So yeah.
And what age was that?
13.
13, okay. So this was what, 9th grade? 8th grade?
7th or 8th grade.
7th, 8th grade, okay. And you said you were a pitcher too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Primarily, but I played other positions as well, but primarily I was a pitcher at that time.
Okay, you said at a young age you're not supposed to throw curveballs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is that I played baseball, played t-ball, but not really.
Okay.
Right, we had a few leagues, Oreo Advocates, a few little leagues in the hood around our way, but we didn't get to really, engulf in baseball. So you saying that's a no-no for what, 12 and under?
Yeah, for sure. Just being able to at least manage how many curveballs you're going to be throwing, because it's a lot of pressure put on the elbow, especially when you're throwing it from different angles. So if you're coming from over the top, you're kind of pulling that tendon. If you're coming from the side that way, especially that way, if you're throwing it that way, where it gives it kind of like that dive action, really puts a lot of pressure on the elbow. So you think about it as a kid, you playing 2 games a week, and you throwing 2 games a week. I might throw 4 innings, you know what I'm saying? Both days, no real recovery time. But shit, I'm having fun. The coaches, they love it. But parents, you know what I'm saying, they out there having a great time striking everybody out.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not really fit. But you as a pitcher, you go through those arm pains and you gotta ice your arm. They kind of come back to, its normal feel. But 2-3 years consistently throwing like that took its impact. It became a horrific injury. I can remember that day, very clearly. It was so painful,
So what is it? Snap? Was it a pop?
It just snapped, and then my arm was just like, the bone was just hanging out. And then the coaches, they called the ambulance and everything. Took me to the hospital. They said it was broke.
Going into that, what would they call it, a throw? Going into that throw, how did it feel? Did everything?
Oh man, I was telling my coach I didn't start that game, but it was a playoff game. And we got down early, like 8-0. And it was like the 3rd inning. And everybody was like looking at me. I was playing shortstop. And everybody was like looking at me like, come on, bro. Like, you got to throw. My arm was sore. I was barely getting the ball in the warm-ups over from shortstop to first base. My arm was just sore, my elbow and my shoulder. So they're like, come on, bro. Like, we down 8-0 this 3rd inning. Coach looking at me doing this. I said, all right, I'll try. So I went out there and I was throwing in the warm-ups. Arm sore. I can't throw no fastballs. I'm trying to throw a slow curve, something that got a little action, and bam, it just pop, snap. I just laid on the ground. Everybody came running out there, and it's just crazy.
Damn.
Yeah.
13.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we done after 13. We get surgery. We go through that process.
But let me tell you this: I didn't get surgery. I went to Lutheran Hospital, right? And they put a cast on my arm, and that's the reason why my arm never extended back, because they put a cast on. It was broke, so they had me stabilized like this in a hard cast for like 5 weeks.
Mm.
So when they took the cast off, it was like this. I was like, damn, my arm ain't extending. I'm looking at it like my arm not extending. So they was like, well, the rehab is that you got to keep doing like this, and eventually it'll just come back to its natural place. So I was doing that every day.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing ever happened, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know why I didn't go back, I don't know, I just learned to live with it. It wasn't like painful, it was just no extension. So I just learned to live with it, but going back to think about it, like, man, that could have changed a huge part of my life, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but
Damn.
no second thoughts, things happen for a reason. I don't ever second guess it. I don't really even think about it. I'm glad that I'm doing what I'm doing at this point.
Okay. So when you weren't able to play baseball anymore, how did that affect you?
So, I was just out for that period of time that my cast was on. I went right back.
5 weeks.
Right back.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 weeks. I'm throwing the ball.
Okay.
So I just, like I said, I just learned to deal with it.
It just didn't extend.
It just didn't have no extension, and I could tell, like, when I was going back to pitch, I didn't have the same velocity. I didn't have the same snap on my curveball.
Okay.
Right. Some days it was snap, but a lot of times it didn't just have the same snap as it used to. Right. So I still play high school baseball, and I ended up playing different positions. I couldn't really put as much strain on my arm pitching like that, so I would pitch maybe some relief innings, But I played shortstop. I caught, because we didn't have catchers, So I'll go ahead and sacrifice and do that, because I don't want people to just steal bases and get in scoring position. So I'll do that. And I was a good catcher.
Right.
Right. I did it all, bro. I played pretty much every position in baseball.
Okay.
After the injury.
So you said you did play high school. What was the high school?
Carver.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. How did the ninth grade go? When you came?
Ninth grade was good. I had my brother that's older than me. He was a senior, so all my family went to Carver, and they all played, with the exception of my older brother.
So this ninth grade would have been the first year after you got that surgery, right?
Yeah.
Or the cast.
Absolutely.
Went through the situation pretty much.
Right.
Okay. So now when you come to high school, so I'm just guessing, but what part of the year was it that you got hurt? Because I know baseball is in the spring.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. That was like the summer. That's the summer. Like,
so you had like that 5 months, then you had like the whole year of the school year, then y'all played in the spring, right?
In the spring, that's
in
right.
High school, okay.
Absolutely.
So since then, it's like, were you able to play like throughout the year? Because baseball, is a summer weather, is a hot weather, it's going to do the cold months. Were you able to play it much at all?
So, me and my brothers, we played all the time. Like, we practiced always, every day.
Okay, just
like
outside.
Every day we outside playing baseball, bro.
Okay.
Hitting, a lot of defensive stuff. So I was always involved, right? I might not have been playing in the league, but I was real uncertain really going into my ninth grade year. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know what to expect coming back. I didn't know if I could really throw the ball hard. I knew I didn't really want to pitch, right? But I just wanted to be able to play a position because, again, my family, they was naturals in it. So I'm the one behind them. I'm the last one, So I knew I felt confident that I could do it at a high level. But now with the injury, I had some doubts. So.
Right. So that's exactly what I was going at, Coach. I play basketball. I play football too, but those sports have some spots that's interchangeable. You can't do this, you can do that. You got to go here, you got to go there. So, with adjusting, was it hard? By you mainly being a pitcher, and then the confidence thing, was that something that you had to overcome like that first year? Because this was right after, right?
Mm-hmm. But man, I saw so many amazing players growing up with my brothers being older. I watched so many of their teammates, and along with watching my brothers play all the positions, positions, different players that I watched my brothers play with, and admired those guys, and took little things, little tiplets from those guys as a little kid, just studying, and it became natural for me. So I knew I could play any position. I didn't like to play like the outfield.
Okay.
I wanted the action. I wanted to be in action, But I have played the outfield. I didn't want to play right field or nothing like that. But in situations when I had to do it, I did it, right? But primarily all the infield positions, I was very comfortable doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on to the season, right? I'm there. You say your big cousins and everybody there. Okay, cool. So we got some familiar faces. How did the first season turn out?
For baseball?
Yeah.
So, I played JV my first year, right? My brother, he was on the varsity team my freshman year. They had a really good team. Our JV team was okay. We didn't have a lot of all-star names, coming in. But, we had something to build on as my brother and them was moving out. So it was a couple of guys that was returning from the varsity team. And then we had a couple of guys from the JV team that was serious about baseball, right? So we knew coming in the next couple of years that we would have a solid program if we was just able to keep it together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And with baseball, do they have the same obstacles as kind of like the basketball players and the football players? They got knuckleheads on the baseball team too?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely, bro. That ain't no different in any of these sports that I played. Like football, basketball, baseball, everybody got their fair share.
Okay. All right. So, did you play other sports at high school?
Yep. I played all three sports. I played baseball, football, and basketball.
Okay.
And
when did you start playing basketball?
So, probably like 12, 13, right? We used to play down at Calvin High School, strikeout baseball. And all the guys would be on the basketball court playing basketball. Guys from Poplar Grove, some of the guys from Emerson Avenue, Winchester Apartments, everybody would be down there playing basketball. So I used to see these guys. A lot of guys could really play. But we was in the baseball, right? So we playing strikeout. Then eventually I kind of like mosey my way over there, kind of like watching what's going on. Then it ain't that many people out there. It's like 5, 6 people. I said, hey, let me get out here and see, right? And just started playing kind of casually like that.
Trying your hand.
Yeah, just casually just playing. My brother started playing a little bit too, so then it became like a multi thing. Like, all right, we play baseball, then go over there and start hooping.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when did football come in?
My 11th grade year. Yeah, I never put on no pads until my 11th grade year. Oh, man.
And how did that go?
So, yeah, one of my best friends, Arnold Canfor, he had played, right? So he was like, man, you need to come out for the football team. My brothers played football, right? So I'm like, damn, I can say I played all three sports. Even though I didn't know how, never played before, never put any pads on. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to try out. Knew the coach and everything because that coach coached my brothers and all that, right? So he's like, yeah, man, come on out. You can play what position you want to play. I said, man, I'll make it easy. I play safety or cornerback. I just got to guard my man. I just got to cover my man. I know I could do that. I don't know nothing about a hole. You can't tell me about a 2-hole or a 4-hole, nothing like that. I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Just, I can, probably deflect passes and guard somebody. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I did. And, surprisingly, man, I did well.
Okay.
Man, it was scary because my first game, they started me, and I didn't know what was going on. Everybody else was very well experienced. And I was like, seemed like I was the only one who never play.
In 11th grade.
Yeah. So, man, it didn't take long. Probably the first half, I think somebody scorched me, bro, on a cornerback tip. So I ain't got away. I was just like, man, get the fuck out of there, man. Who put him in there in the beginning anyway?
Hey, man.
Oh, shit.
Happens, man. Hey, man.
That's how I have it. That's exactly how I went down. But, I started picking it up.
Right.
What I realized about football is this, man. If you don't want to get dirty, you don't want to get hit. don't play football.
Right.
You gotta sacrifice your body, and if you don't sacrifice your body, you're not gonna be an impact out there.
Did you want to get hit?
Not in the beginning. Not in the beginning. Again, that's why I wanted to play defense. I hit somebody.
Right.
But even still on the defensive end,
Right,
people
right,
blocking,
right.
and all of a sudden you catching like side blinded and stuff like that. So you gotta be prepared. You gotta be willing to hit the ground, bro, and be willing to get back up.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw some guys, man. Reginald Riley, amazing athlete, bro. And on the football field, I just studied him. And he would always be dirty and always have blood on his pants. And he'd be walking around normal, like, I ain't hurt, like, bro, this is part of it. You feel me? So,
right.
Yeah, so I just respected that so much. And I said, man, all right, my senior year, I know what it takes. He was a senior. But I was watching and studying him the whole time.
Okay.
And then my senior year, man, I did really well.
Okay.
Really well.
At the safety corner?
At the safety. Yeah, I went to safety.
Safety, okay.
Yep.
They gave you a little bit of space.
Let me roam a little bit.
Run up and jump on a foul.
Yeah, instead of covering the dude. Yeah, they let me roam a little bit.
Yeah. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Okay. So you say you was hooping a little bit at slide over on the court with the big guys. When did you take it seriously? You say you played in high school a little bit. When did you go to any of the rec? Did you slide down Benlow, St. Edwards, or where did you go?
So Central Rosemount was the rec for us, right? Maybe 2 days a week, like certain times of the year, in the wintertime, fall, winter. Mr. Sonny was the director down there at the time, and he would open up the gym, and it'd be two sides. Calvin was a big gym, man, and it was two sides, and it'd be like Tuesday and Thursday, it would be thick. So we would go in there and hoop. That's where I really learned the toughness of that, right? And then we played like little in-house leagues like that, and we was playing against guys in that neighborhood that was solid. So
who were some of the guys around there in the neighborhood that was?
Oh man, I remember Gordon. I can't remember what Gordon's last name was, but he was a Poplar Grove guy. A lot of those guys from Poplar Grove was tough, bro. It's a lot of them. But of course, our Curl came from around that way too, Emerson Avenue. So that was later.
Okay.
And he was normally on Calvin's court, not necessarily in the gym or 202.
Okay.
But he was definitely, a legend for the young age that he lived. Rest in peace to him. Everybody kind of saw that he was going to be the next one, for real. But it was not a whole gang of household names, in my era from West Baltimore like that I can recall. So nothing but the utmost respect to the guys who had done it that I may not mention. But I could definitely say a lot of the guys in East Baltimore at that time was really like, they coming from that Muggsy and those guys after that. Everybody respected the Dunbar regime at that time. You feel me? So we kind of like had our hands up like, you were the Dunbar. We already know what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Coach, we know you, or those that know you as a world-renowned trainer, right? And the basketball trainer. So at what point did you fall in love with basketball? You sound like you lean towards the baseball, which is, we can tap into that a little bit more too as well. But at what point in your life did you fall in love with basketball?
But when I started playing in high school, right? So I didn't play by 9th grade year. Excuse me. And for some reason, I put in my mind that I just didn't go out for the team. But that wasn't the case. I failed 2 classes, right? And I had a good friend of mine who lived in the area, John Johnson, Stink. He played for Carver the year previous to that, right? He was like a big brother to me. And he was the one like, bro, you need to come out for the team. You need to come out for the team. And at that time, man, you come out, you go for a basketball team in any city high school. It's 85 to 100 motherfuckers out there, right? All of them got BNBL jerseys on from wherever they played from. Boom, boom, hey. But so everybody try to show that they got some kind of level
so they're from some rats.
Some kind of level of certification, you feel me? So I'm walked in there the first day. I knew I failed 2 classes though. I'm walking in there, I ain't changed up. And I'm like, man, looking at all these dudes too. I'm like, I ain't been playing that long either. I don't know. So I ain't even go in there and try out. But I knew I failed 2 classes, right? So the next year, my man was like, "You definitely gonna try out this year, bro. You gonna play?" And I did, and everybody validated for me, like, cause I could play, right? Solid point guard, not really trying to do too much. Know how to get the players involved, strap up on defense. Yeah, yo, you can help a team. So I was like, man, I'm gonna go out, do everything down on the floor like they told me to do, anything to make the coach notice me. And they picked me up. So I'm like, bet. JV, 10th grade. Now I'm on a high school team, I started loving basketball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that 10th grade year, you say you was playing the 3 sports. Now 10th grade, which at this point, because basketball is first. Basketball, football, basketball, then
Yeah.
baseball. Which one is after the end of the 10th grade year, summertime? Which one are you loving the most?
Baseball.
Baseball. Okay.
Yeah. I always want to be on the baseball too, because it was I'm such a natural at it.
Okay.
I wish I would have chased the basketball though, bro. Sometimes I sit back and think about it, because I'm a competitor, right? Like anything that I put my energy into, I want to be great at it, right? So I put my energy into being a baseball player, and I was great at it. I think, I didn't make it to the league or anything like that, but when I sit back and think about the experiences that I had, I didn't stop playing until I was 32, right? Amazing experiences with some amazing baseball players, bro, that look like us, right? So I don't regret that part, the experiences, but in terms of like competing against some of the top players for basketball, chasing the buck, like where they at? I know that's what it is. If you hoop, that's what you're doing. Who's supposed to be? Let me get over there. Let me see what's what. I wasn't doing that. I was doing that on the baseball side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So even on high school, that was what first love was always baseball.
Yes.
Okay. So let's go into your senior year. Right. Senior year, baseball, football, basketball, all 3 again, right? Safety on football. Point at Carver, and then
catching.
Okay. So how was that season for all 3 sports?
So let's start with football. Football was cool, man. One of the memories I had on homecoming, I intercepted the ball on homecoming my senior year and ran it back 103 yards.
And what year was this?
My senior year.
What?
But guess what?
What year?
88. But guess what?
Okay.
I got caught on the 2-yard line.
Oh, yeah.
I intercepted the ball in the end zone, deep in the end zone, ran it out,
right?
And a lineman caught me, bro, at the 2-yard line. Everybody laughed.
You gassed
out? Me up and gassed out. 103 yards, but no touchdown.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that was a good memory for the football side.
They might still got that record, man. You gotta look it up.
103, maybe.
Maybe. Hey, you might gotta check it out.
Maybe.
It definitely was in the books, man. But okay. And base going to the
basketball. So we fell short. We lost to Gilman in the playoffs that year, man. That was disappointing because the year prior to that, in '87, we won the championship. We beat Mervo.
The city championship?
The city championship, MSA
okay.
B conference championship. We beat Mervo at home that year, so everybody kind of expected us to come back and, repeat potentially. We did lose a lot of key pieces, right? But, we had a decent season. We lost to some teams we probably shouldn't have lost to. Had some solid players on the team. But we lost to Gilman. We lost to Gilman in the first round. So that ended my season. That was like heartbreaking, bro. Like, man, basketball is over with. And I knew it was a chance that I wasn't going to play in college because I was so into baseball. So it was like a real hurtful feeling, that loss in the playoffs against them. But then moving on to the baseball side, I think we was one game from going to the championship. We lost in the playoff, I think, to Northwestern. So it was kind of tough, rough season, senior season leaving out. Yeah.
North? I'm sorry I had to do it. I'm sorry I had to do it, Coach. My fault. Hey, man.
Yeah, they got us. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Shout out to them.
Yeah.
They deserve it. They did it.
And that's the game before the championship.
Yeah. Yep.
So who wound up winning the championship?
Walbrook or Emerson. I'm not sure. Ernie Brown and those guys. And you got the Bond brothers down.
So hold on. We went to the championship. So who lost? So it's Northwestern must have.
So no, that got them into the playoffs. That knocked us out of the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they went to the playoffs.
Okay.
Or matter of fact, that did not. We had to win that game.
To get in.
No disrespect. Northwestern didn't make the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? They just knocked us out the playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah, they wasn't relevant on that side of the playoff.
We just spoiled it for y'all.
Yeah, they spoiled it.
Okay,
they was spoiled it for real. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. We had something going on at least that year. Okay, so now everything's done. I'm finishing, I'm graduating, I'm done with school, high school. So what's next?
Man. No offers.
No offers.
And nothing.
Hey, in the 3 sports.
Zero. Zip.
Oh man.
Nothing, bro.
So we got AAU for basketball. They got so many different millions camps for football. What does a baseball player do? What's that? What's that role to get you seen by the scouts?
Hidden. Well, they had like these Oreo workouts. Like the Oreos would host these tryouts, but they had their sister programs. You know what I'm saying? Certain like Johnny's was a big baseball program coming up, and they would always foster their kids into the Orioles farm system. So when we would go to those camps, just like some of the G League workouts, no disrespect, but sometimes they already know who they're looking for. They already know they know what they want. So, and then be at a disadvantage in that sport.
Okay.
At the end of the day, I'm gonna go into this. I am gonna go into this. Since Brian Jordan played for the Atlanta Braves in the 80s, right? He went to Milford Mill. But I don't think anybody can mention another African American professional baseball player from Baltimore.
Mm.
So it's a little different from basketball. You don't have somebody to identify with as a baseball player. And Brian Jordan, like once he went. I don't ever recall him having no camp here or nothing like that, right? So
he kept going.
But again, what I'm saying, it's the dominant sport for the white people still to this day. Right? And so.
And that's and they make the most money.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. But man, I can't tell you how many African American players I ran across in my time. Amazing players. Some of them did get signed and played minor league baseball, but never got to the point to play professionally. And they would kind of create this narrative of, well, African Americans don't want to play baseball. They don't play baseball anymore. James Mosier has been around for 66 years and still going on to this day.
Still, I know them for baseball.
Yeah.
If I don't know them for nothing else, I know them for baseball.
For sure. But not one player in 66 years. I was just talking to an older coach up there a couple of weeks ago. And I asked him, he's 88 years old. So he knows all the history. And I said, out of the 66 years of existence, you mean to tell me not one player from this league made it to the major leagues? And he said, no. So why is that? That's kind of weird to me. For all the love that I know I put in it, and the people before that I watched every day on the field who were just as good or better than me and loved the sport just as much as I loved it. And I'm sure it was people before them and even after us, like not one was able to sprinkle into the major leagues. So
how do you
make
think
sense of that?
What you think that the reason is?
It's still some the Jackie Robinson days are still existing. Right? Because we dominate in other sports. We are the face of a lot of the other sports, major sports. And they don't want us to take over baseball.
Okay.
in my opinion. I try not to get into any type of racial things and stuff like that, but I know what it feel like because I lived it, right? So
what's the difference between, like, I mean, it is, but it ain't. What's the difference between black and then the Dominicans? It seems like there's not a lot of African Americans per se, but Dominicans, maybe whatever other national. I know there's a lot of Dominicans. So, but
all right, so that broadens the spectrum of who you can market the game to, right? Just like it is in basketball now.
Okay.
Right. So I'm not just marketing to the United States citizens for this player to come out of Baltimore to sell his jersey and sell his apparel and stuff like that. Now you got a bigger spectrum. You got the United States as well as all the other Venezuela and Puerto Rican, and you got all that big range to market the sport from, right? And to empower our people, along with what they're doing in basketball and football, could be dangerous if everybody kind of stuck together and did some powerful things with their money, right? And it's always been that sport. That's the history of it. They're going to hold on to that as much as they can without putting too much of a smoke screen in front of it. But the fact is, there's still a lot of African Americans that play baseball. Don't let people tell you any different.
Right. Okay, Coach. Some of us have it, some of us don't. 3-level sport or 3-sport. You excelled a lot in baseball. Who would you say, if you have one, would be your sensei
for baseball?
Just period. That coach that walked with you, guided you, got you to a certain level, helped you, understand one of those games, to the tip-top point, or helped you, guided you with your training.
2 people. No, plenty of people, but 2 people to stick out clearly. Mark Archer, right? Mark was the first person that believed in me at that level of a coach and his status to say, boy, I got you. I see something in you. I want you on my team. That built my confidence. I already had it, but then to have somebody of his caliber seek me out and tell me, bro, you different, right? So now, man, I'm wide open, right? So he taught me the business. He taught me the business of basketball, and he protected me. I ain't gonna lie, because this basketball thing is tough. I'm in East Baltimore now, at St. Francis. That's his program. He built East Baltimore basketball in that era, right? And I'm a West Baltimore dude. So I'm walking in that, and then people, who's this dude? What's up with him? You know what I'm saying? Not that I couldn't take care of myself, but I got to get to West Baltimore probably to get that done. Mark and East, everybody respect and love Mark. What he say go, and that's just what it was, bro. So he had my back, and I appreciate him for that. You know what I'm saying? Nobody took interest for the years that I was doing it to say, I want to show you how to go to the next level with this shit. Right? So him, and then next, before Mark, Kim Rivers at Randallstown. He was another person who was like, man, you got it, bro. Like, you can train and you can coach. Right? And he coached. I met Coach Rivers because of DeMond Brown. I don't know if everybody know, most people know who DeMond Brown is, right?
D. Brown.
Right? So when he went to Randallstown and Coach Rivers was the coach, I became more in tune with the program. And I watched how he handled mine, right? And I watched how, how stern he was with his players and the discipline part. He was from New York too, right? And like he would be up in these guys because he demanded a certain level of play, just period. Like that's just what it is. The way that they prepared in the summer times for league play. It was a program. It wasn't a team. And I witnessed that. I watched how the summer camps, as I'm running now, I learned a lot of that, the structure and all that from Coach Rivers. And he allowed me to come in, work the camps, learn what I needed to learn to move on. It wasn't no, I'm trying to hold you back. Nah, bro, this is what you want to do. You want to do this, this is how you calculate this. This is what you know, blah, blah, blah. This is how you do it. Okay. All right, coach. So I was always, humble enough to learn from other people, whether they was younger or older than me. Just the fact that they've done it wasn't no need of reinventing the wheel. So for those two people, man, I appreciate them. They are a big part of who I am today because of what they showed me and just believing in me, giving me the confidence that you can do it at a high level, not just doing it just to be hustling. Like, nah, bro, you different. So shout out to those guys.
Shout out to Coach Karcher and
Kim Rivers.
Shout out to Coach Rivers. So if you would, you could say we're gonna take this time to turn the camera B, and we're gonna give those coaches a shout out and let them know how we appreciate what they done for us.
All right, first I'm gonna start with Mark. Mark, thank you, bro. Like, I know I'm older, but I still call you the big bro. Watched you growing up as I was a player playing basketball, and I watched you as a younger player dominate the high school circuit, bro, and then become the coach that you became, and then to accept me as a part of the St. Francis program. I'm forever grateful for that. All the things that you told me about the business of basketball, bro, I'm forever grateful. And Coach Rivers, you know how it is, bro. Like, now I know you're in Georgia. You've been a successful coach here in Maryland, and now you're successful down in Georgia. I'm so excited that you continue to keep being a pillar in the communities for these kids. Everything that you taught me, I've done my best to try to carry it over and bring my best effort to the kids to give them the things that they need to excel at the sport. And I learned a lot of that from you, so I appreciate you.
Shout out to Coach Rivers and shout out to Coach Karcher. Okay, Coach. Following your senior season, you said you didn't have any offers for basketball, football, nor baseball.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been in that position myself as a young man following high school. I know what my mind state was. Take us through, where you at mentally in that time.
Stressed, frustrated. I was nominated as the most athletic of my graduating class. I was second. Enos won it, right? So the expectation was like, I had to play some sport. I played 3 of them. Varsity, 2 years in a row, started in all those sports. I had to do something, right? Like, that had to pay off to something, and it didn't. But I never saw a college coach my whole time at Carver. On a football field, on the basketball court, on a baseball field, I never seen not one college coach come through. So I don't know how to get recruited. I don't know anything about the recruiting process. I'm thinking that college coaches come to the schools and look at talent and kind of make their decisions based off of that. But that wasn't the situation for any city schools for the most part, unless you was some highly touted, recruit. So I personally never saw that at our school. So I didn't know what the process was to continue school. I didn't know. My older brother, ended up playing at Cobb, and he had a wrestling scholarship. He ended up playing baseball up there as well. But they gave him a wrestling scholarship, bro. Like, I don't know how he got that. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't there wrestling. I don't know if it was a college coach that came up there or what, but I just never experienced any interaction with any college coaches my whole career at Carver. So that summer, one of the guys that I played summer league baseball with was like, "Where you going to school at, bro? What you doing? I'm like, man, I don't know. I ain't got nothing going on, bro. I'm trying to figure this shit out." He's like, "Well, me and, Marlon Marlon and this person we going to Essex, bro. We going to Essex Community College. Like, I can probably call the coach and tell him, you know, that you want to come up there. They called the coach, told him about me. He said, yeah, all right, you know, come on up. No scholarship, nothing, you know, just come on up. See what the campus look like, see if you like it, enroll in school, try out for the baseball team. That wasn't no real recruiting, right? So, yeah, that's what I did. Talked to my parents. Mom, I really want to go to college. I don't want to just be out here doing nothing. God told me I can go to, you know, Essex Community College. And like, all right, you know, if that's what you want to do, we'll support you. So that's what I did. I went to Essex Community College, and that was a very short stint.
Go ahead and tell us about it.
I get up there, of course, you know, now you free.
Right.
It's no supervision.
Right.
It's no supervision. We got an apartment off campus. It's 2 baseball players and 2 basketball players. We roommates, right? So then you don't got no curfew. Nobody gonna wake you up and tell you gotta go to class. People partying all night long. No clue on what it's like to be a student athlete, right? So the gym is open at 12 o'clock to hoop. I got class at 11:30. Got a class at 11:30, but they hooping at 12.
Midnight.
Nah, in the day.
Oh, okay. At noon.
Yeah, they got the gym open. Dudes hooping. I got class. Man, I ain't going to class today, boy. I'm getting this bump. I'm going to get this bump today. I'm completely distracted. Everything that you could think about to be distracted, I was distracted, right? Make a long story short, we get into an altercation up there. Me and my baseball homeboy, we Baltimore guys, basketball guys, a couple of them from Eastern Shore, a couple of guys went to Bullock. We get into a big altercation. Brawl inside the gym, like 75 people. They were like, man, that's it. Y'all got to go. Right? So I wasn't even up there no more than 4 months. But I will say this. When I jumped on campus, man, again, like it was a primarily white sport. So it was only me and my teammate and one other guy that were black. So I'm uncomfortable. I wasn't really like never around that many white people. And then in my sport that I was really like gifted at, it now was like a challenge to me to compete with these guys, right? And I ain't really like had that grit to like do that for real, I think. I wasn't like tripping about trying to show these guys that I'm nice for real. I wasn't really on it like that. But that's, you know, that's just what the approach I had. But I took more of an interest into playing basketball then. So anytime the gym was open, I'm hooping. I will always go to baseball practice, but I'm still hooping every day in the gym with the basketball players. And then the coach came in and was like, where you go to school at? You play where? Oh, okay. He thought I was the starting point. I was running really like the combo. James, God damn it. Can't remember. It's going to come up, his name. But he was the starting point guy. I think he thought I was him. He's like, man, are you trying out for the basketball team? I will. Telling me to. Yeah, you need to try out. But I only had 9 credits because I wanted to be eligible. No, I didn't have to take 12 credits.
Right. For baseball.
For baseball.
Right.
But for basketball, I would have needed 12 credits. So I already asked my parents for money for the 9 credits. Basketball coach told me, yeah, he wanted me to hoop. I go off for the workouts, I look good. Everybody saying I'm going to make the team. Had a chance to start. And I was just terrified to ask my father for extra money to pick up another class, man. Because I know I was failing anyway.
Hey, man.
Hey, bro.
I know the feeling, man.
Yeah. So I said, no, I ain't even going to ask him. I'm probably already done already. Messed up the first couple of weeks of school for real. I ain't thinking about school. I'm thinking about sports, and really didn't make the connection of how it all go hand in hand and how responsible you need to be on your own. Your parent can't do it for you. At some point, you got to grow up. So yeah, it was a short stint there, man. And then after that, I went into the work world. Like right out of that 18, I started working at Meineke when I came home.
Okay. So, at what point did you or when was your first coaching position?
So I ended up getting a job at New Song Academy in Sandtown. Mr. Gamble was running the middle school league.
Mr. Gamble.
Yeah, Mr. Gamble was running this middle school league, and I had a bunch of kids down in Sandtown that was in a new building, New Song. So that was my first opportunity, right? I had a bunch of little kids in the hood, really couldn't play.
New Song. That was Jeremiah and them?
Jeremiah, they older.
Okay.
That was older, but that community, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started coaching there, but I only, did that with the middle school for a couple of years. But while I was doing that, I also coached with Coach Jackson up at Carver. I was his assistant coach back in '97.
Okay. Describe to us, Coach, your coaching style in one word.
Passionate. Passionate, bro, because people may not say this, but I know most people do vicariously live through other kids, because it's almost like as a coach or a trainer, and you spend so much time with them, right? And you know they can do certain things and they want to do certain things. The passion of seeing it manifest, it's like a high for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that this kid worked on this continuously, right? And now I see them, okay, I get it. I understand how to be consistent at doing this, or how to compete at a high level mentally, you know what I'm saying? Not to get discouraged when runs happen in games and stuff like that. Like, I watch these kids grow from having none of that to having it, which brings about a passion to do it for me, because I know that that's what it takes for them to play at the highest level. Consistency playing like that. And like I say, for me, it's just, how can I explain this more? I don't want to say like I'm living through a kid, but at the same time, I just want to see these kids be able to accomplish their goals, be better than me, right? You got the support and all the support system that you need to be able to accomplish whatever it is that you feel like you could do. And I'm passionate about watching that stuff manifest through the hard work that these kids put into the game. Yeah.
So some people say some parents live vicariously through their kids, right? So what I hear you saying is coaches and trainers can also live vicariously
for sure
through the kids.
They might not admit that, but
right.
I'm going to admit that today.
Right.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Thank you, Coach. So I mean, when you hear that, and we only seem to glorify that, or at least speak about it in the sense where the situation doesn't manifest, right? We don't say that for a situation for Alonzo Ball, right? Got 2 kids in the league. For those situations where the parents do have their hands, closely, tied on their kids, and they do go professional. They do get to seek the, those golden opportunities that they're working so hard for, right? So, why is it? Do you think that it's like consider it gets a black eye type of situation if they say vicariously living through the kid?
Because some parents take it too far.
Okay.
Right? Like, it's a time and a place for everything. It's a way that it's done. You can be like, the kind of work that you may put behind the scenes with a kid, your own child. and you want to see it come out the same way a parent, as a coach or a trainer would, right? It's no different. But to be in the stands and when it doesn't happen or you're going through the process of watching this stuff manifest and the tension gets so tough that you can't take it and now you're yelling and screaming out, at the kid, and now all of a sudden there's pressure on them to try to prove to them that you can do what you worked on the other day and stuff. Now you're doing too much. You're doing too much. You should use, nothing wrong with taking this as a study and going back and just looking at film and looking at it as a classroom session, a learning opportunity, opposed to a beat down on, we don't work this on this 50 million times, you keep doing this shit the wrong way. Nah. Every opportunity is opportunity to learn, and kids learn by being taught the right way. It's no different from being taught from an educator in a classroom. If a parent, as a parent, they probably need to learn how to change those hats and be that educator, and teach the kid, like, yo, look, we're working on this. Look at the cat right there. Like, how did you miss the cat, bro? Like, look, slow down, read it. That's how you teach, and that's how kids can retain it, opposed to you yelling and screaming because you so invested into them doing what they could do because it was in you and you taught them. Nah, they're going to be at their own pace, in their own time. If it's done the right way, it'll manifest. But if it's pressure, it's just, you're taking longer. You're just going, you holding yourself up.
Okay. That's good, Coach, because we do see those situations where the parents can go overboard. Sometimes I done been that parent, right? And some of us, we get into it because we want our kid to succeed, so well. We, it's a tough thing when your kid is the one that's out there fucking up.
Yes.
Hey, it's a tough thing.
I know, bro.
Right. Your kid fucking up and you got 2 parents on your left side, 3 parents on your right,
Exactly.
1 parent behind you. Right? So, sometimes it's hard to deal with that coming from the parent standpoint. I'm kind of just starting to wear that hat. For so long I wore the coach's hat, working with my daughters, but now I'm wearing the dad's hat, right? And the dad's hat, yeah, it's hard, right? It's sometimes it's a tough pill to swallow, but like you said, they gotta find a better way to handle it, right?
But let me share this while we're on that point. I didn't mean to cut you off. I always tell all my parents this. I spend more time talking to parents than I am on the floor, training the kids. Just giving them some advice of things that I done experienced in other family situations and stuff, and how to handle the ups and downs, the roller coaster of a kid playing youth basketball who got aspirations of playing at the highest level, right? I tell them, first of all, you gotta be truthful with yourself, right? Mom and dad, I had to come and make some real decisions. Like, first of all, do my kid have that gift? Like, does she love it? Can she play? Can it be nurtured? And if you say yes, then surrender, right? Surrender, bro. And allow God to put her in the right hands. And you can see who good people, who not good people, right? You can really go with your gut. Whoever he navigates you to, surrender and just be her biggest fan. Now you're at peace. You understand? Opposed to making a rat race. Oh man, this kid trying to get to this school or this school and that school. Nah, run your own race, surrender, and be her biggest fan or his biggest fan. Because it's going to be so many times, man, the pressure of all the other outside entities for him to perform that he got to process and still perform. And if he don't have anybody to turn to, it's going to be a tough road. And he should have that support. If you have your mom or dad, especially your mom, right? Mom telling me, baby, it's going to be all right. Did you try your hardest? You know what I'm saying? Was you a good teammate? and everything's gonna be fine. Stuff, little small words of encouragement like that keep people going, because there's so much other negative stuff, because it's a rat race. Like everybody trying to chase the same goal and thinking there's only one person who's gonna get it. And there's a multitude of people that's gonna get it if you just do it the right way.
Right. Okay. Coach, you are a coach as well as a trainer, so you do both separately. So, right, you coach, you got your own teams, you also have your own training program, right? Which would you say? What percentage would you say you love both the most? So I got 50-50, 60-40, 20-30. I mean, 20-80. Which side?
All right, man, it's crazy. I'm gonna say this too. Yeah, I'm gonna say this without cutting my tongue. Training, right? Only because it's so personal. The coach, I love coaching, bro, but it's too many people involved, and then it becomes not fun, right? I love competing. I love teaching the game, slowing the game down, opposed to like in a training session, you trying to get a lot of stuff in, not necessarily always trying to, but you know it's a lot of things that you got to work on. So over a period of time, it's a lot of things. So you kind of getting through things. But in coaching, when you got the time to have practices and really sit back and talk about spacing and talk about why it's important to set this good screen the right way, how to really get yourself open, and other small little details that are put in systems to help teams be successful. And then to have the kids buy into it, that's beautiful. It's like poetry in motion. That's where, the coaches kind of can still be on the sideline, like smiling, like inside smiling, because like, man, we executed that perfect. Like, man, that was a beautiful screen. Man, I remember how we didn't start off like that. And now that's beautiful to watch the process of that unfold for me. But the whole realm of the game is distasteful. Training, I'm really able to deal with a kid and a parent one-on-one about what their goals are and how can we collectively make it happen. So it becomes individual things, like I know what I need to do for this kid. If she fail, I fail. If he fail, I fail. So I'm locked in, boom, 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 boom. And when it happens, a kid sign a Division I scholarship or whatever school, whatever level, and they invite me, it breaks me down, bro. It really breaks me down in the tears to see I sat down and talked about these goals 6, 7, 8 years ago, and now here it is in front of our face that you're doing it, and you put the work in and you earned it, you deserve it. That's priceless. Can't put a price tag on that. Right? So because of those reasons, 60-40 coaching. Training.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Coach, what is the fundamental of your program and the culture of, we didn't even mention the name of it. We got to go back. I don't know what's wrong with us. And that is Baltimore Premier. What is the fundamentals of Baltimore Premier's culture?
Premier Basketball Unlimited, right? That's the name of our company. Our vision was for kids to be able to continue their education through basketball. That was the whole purpose of it, right? Because again, I go back to my high school years, and nobody gave us, myself and a lot of other people, any guidance. We didn't know how to get to school, right? So that was my whole plan. It's like, okay, learn how I can support these kids to continue their education, and I'm gonna use basketball as the platform, because going back to the baseball side of it, it's harder based off of our complexion and in the region that we're in to help a lot of kids for baseball. For basketball, I can, right? So I'm gonna use this sport that I love, that I played, competed at a high level still, even though I didn't play college basketball, right? And God placed it in my spirit that when I was 22 years old that I would be doing this. Exactly what I'm doing today, right? So I never wavered from that. I always worked, but I continued to constantly keep thinking about what God placed in my spirit about what my purpose was. So I always worked and trained. Yeah, so that was it. So helping kids continue their education through basketball. And how was we going to do that, right? So my motto was to play like a pro, you got to train like a pro. I always looked at how deprived we were as a city for resources, whether it be rec centers or equipment or funding or anything to really like create interest and a real reality that we can get to college through a program like mine's. So I'm fighting for that, right? That's what I've been fighting for from day one that I started my program. And anything that's out there to help develop our kids. So I was the first person to bring, if I'm not mistaken, a shooting machine, the gun. I bought that in 2002. So there's no other programs like, especially training, like there was no training program that had a gun to the common community, just to the regular community to use or anything like that. Maybe it was hidden in a few gyms, but nobody had that as a
weapon.
As a weapon, yeah. And to be honest with you, that really kind of made me relevant. It was my little gimmick, if you want to say that.
Milkshake machine.
Yeah. Well, what's that? What's that? But I knew that I knew basketball. All I needed was an opportunity for people to allow me to work with them. But what was going to allow them to work with me if I wasn't an NBA guy or a college guy or this? No, well, I got this piece of equipment I know that can help, right? And I know I can help outside of this piece of equipment once I get you locked in on this, and I can start letting you see that I do know basketball. I understand clearly the little nuances and stuff about this, right? So that's a whole nother story with the gun. But I wanted to make sure all our kids had a fair opportunity to develop just like a kid in LA or a kid in Nevada. You know what I'm saying? Nah, Baltimore deserved the same opportunities as everybody else. So I just started looking, researching what equipment is out there, what our kids need, and I got it, right? For our kids to make sure that they are on an even playing field in terms of development. Last thing is effort, energy, and execute. Those are the 3 E's to excellence for me. And I believe in that, like whether it's in basketball or anything else that you do in life. If you wake up with the right type of energy, get yourself together, you gotta put forth the effort, you gotta try. That's what just try. Tell the kids, try, bro. If you're not trying, it ain't gonna work, bro. You gotta put forth the effort and execute. And in layman's terms, that's just meaning do what your coach asks you to do. Exactly what your coach asks you to do. And if you do that, this is gonna be simple. It'll work itself out over a period of days of stacking this stuff up. You're gonna watch yourself change as a player. And so we live by that, those 3 things. Energy, effort, execute.
Okay, the 3 E's, I like that. I'm gonna definitely use it, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back for 1 second, Coach. 1 second, real quick. You say you started with Coach Rivers at Randallstown, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is it safe to say that your first player that you really trained was D. Brown?
No.
Okay.
No. Let me tell you something.
Okay.
D. Brown is unofficially my nephew, but he's my nephew, bro.
Okay.
I raised him in a lot of senses. I raised him. He was 4 years old when I met him, right? And his uncle was my best friend. We're still friends. But he was with his uncle all the time. We went to Carver. He would pick him up, and Mom would be walking with us back to his house. He lived on Loretta. I lived on Carver Heights. So Mom was 4. And, years went by, and then his uncle told me like, well, you know, man, he killer on the court, bro. I'm like, what? Like, yeah, man, he 14. Everybody talking about he big time. I'm like, for real? So yeah, once I went and seen him play, I'm like, man, sure, the real deal. And you know, so the Randallstown situation, I never got a chance to work with Damon because Damon was, you know, he was tilting, bro. He was tilting. Yeah, he was tilting. So Randallstown was a real safe haven for him in terms of really like blossoming out to be who he was as a basketball player, completely focused more so on basketball, not being in a city environment every day, coming home to the projects. You know what I'm saying? He was staying out in Randallstown, so he had his mind completely focused on basketball at the time. But yeah, he wasn't. I didn't train him. I didn't get a chance to really work with him the same way I've worked with a lot of other athletes over the years. I just had a more personal relationship with D Brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said you didn't get it. That's nephew, but you didn't get to fully work with him. So outside of Damon, like I said, I was a little off on that. Who was the first person that you trained?
So first person was John T. Hall. Right? I actually coached him at Carver, right? I was assistant coach with Coach Durst Jackson at the time. So that's where I met him. I think he was a sophomore or junior when I was coaching, but I may have seen him and started working with him as a sophomore when he was on JV, right? So yeah, he's the first person I trained.
Okay. So at this point, you didn't have Premier yet, did you?
No, not
okay. So you were training where, at the school? Or?
Yeah, just like that at the school, be a Carver, working with him, or we'd be down at a hoops or something like that. You know, yeah, just random places wherever we could find a court, outside courts.
Okay.
Whatever, yeah.
Okay. Shout out to my man John Tate, man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You work with a lot of other greats. So when we notice when we come to the gym, it seemed about 1,000 names going around the wall, right? Khalees, Fisher, we got Jennifer, we got endless names. All of those names, you work with them directly?
Absolutely, yep. At some point,
okay.
You know, I've worked with each kid that's on that wall. I've had an opportunity to work with them in that gym, right? So some people say, I trained this kid, or, you know, I don't say that with every kid that's on that wall because some of those kids didn't grow up in that gym. Khalees Fisher grew up in that gym.
Okay.
Bob Carrington grew up in that gym.
Okay.
Right? Justin Jennifer had a good stint in that gym, right? But guys like C.J. Fair, you know, I didn't meet him until he was in his 20s, right? Sean Mosley, I didn't meet him until he was at Maryland, you know. Dax Miles, you know, I didn't get to work with him until after he finished college, you know, stuff like that. But everybody I've had an opportunity to work with. There's few on the wall that I train, few on the wall that I work with. And I never want to get that misconstrued, right? Because some people be like, oh, damn, I work with that guy. Like, how Bullock gonna say?
Right.
He did that.
No, I train him.
Yeah,
no, I'm his trainer.
Yeah, right. Everybody get into that. And I say to the kids, like, these are Baltimore figures, people that you need to know. Know your history. Know these people who come before you. And they are people that I directly work with, right? I can call these people up today. They probably gonna pick up. Or I can inbox and they're gonna get back to me, right? I got personal relationships with these people. So it's not like I'm using anybody to try to build my brand and make it seem like I'm somebody I'm not. I'm so transparent about me because I'm comfortable about my calling and my purpose, right? So I give all the respect to all the other people. I understand how this game is played. Kids are gonna move on. They're gonna work with a slew of other people. If it's not your child, you don't have a social security number, birth certificate, don't claim, man, that's my kid, that's my kid. There's so many other people that play a major part into the development of these kids, and I'm just grateful that these parents gave me an opportunity and trusted me to be able to be a part of their village, right? It's not just about me, it's a lot of other people that have played a major part, right? I know I played a big part as well. But.
Okay. Do the trainers get into the trainer wars? Like, you know?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't because I'm an old school. I'm an old head now in the industry. When I first started, I only remember three other guys that were training professionally, meaning getting paid to do it. I'm not gonna drop no names.
Are they still around?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So like I done seen a lot of other trainers come and go, and I never had an ego, because I know who I am. I know what I can do, right? And also, it's a million kids out here. Like, so I'm not, I'm not trying. And after a period of time, too, once you've been with successful players that you don't work with, like, I'm not tripping about validation. Like, the kids are going to do that.
Okay.
Right? You could talk whatever you want to say about, yeah, Bullock can't, Bullock never, boom, boom, boom. But in the training world, I can look at any of these people in their eyes and have a real conversation about workouts that we had in the gym. They're going to laugh, smile, yeah, coach, yeah, that was true. I remember I didn't do that. We spend real time in the gym. This ain't no facade, you know what I'm saying? So they know and they respect that. And so I don't look for any validation from the basketball training world to compete about who's the best trainer or who got the most money. Like, who impacted the most kids is what's most important to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Who or what shapes your coaching philosophy?
So, when I started studying basketball, that was like Limbaug's days. That's when I really started getting into basketball, right? And I used to watch Lefty Driesell coach. And Lefty wasn't the best coach, I don't think. But he was a rah-rah guy, like, he really, like, embraced those opportunities to play against the North Carolinas and the Dukes and stuff like that. And you could see the energy of the teams when they would go out and compete in those type of games. So that really, like, started making me really become more aware of the coach opposed to the players, right? You watch the game, that's the entertainment, but then I'm kind of also observing these coaches. So because he's the hometown guy, Lefty Driesell was the person I kind of like started looking at as a coach. But then when, Bob Wade came, I'm kind of watching him like, dang, a little laid back. And then Gary Williams, man, when he came, and I'm a big Maryland fan, like, for basketball, men's basketball. When Gary Williams came, he was like a breath of fresh air for me. Like, that was like everything that I thought was necessary that we needed to become national champions. He could probably do it. He had some downfalls too, like early on when they was losing before they won that national championship. He made some big coaching mistakes, I think. Mm-hmm. But he learned from it over those years, and he was able to come back with a national championship. So Gary Williams was a big inspiration for me. Yeah.
Okay. What would you say is the biggest misconception of coaching?
That's a good question, bro. That it's easy. People think that you can just go out and just have talent and win. Or you can just be a good coach or a good trainer and just outright win as soon as you hit the floor. Like, it's a process. It's not easy. Like, you gotta really identify what type of players you have to be able to create whatever type of system you want to put in, right? Everything is not going to work for every player for what you have in terms of ingredients to play the kind of style of basketball you want to play. So you got to learn those type of things, learn kids' personalities, who can take a little bit of toughness, who need to be nourished a little bit, how to really stroke the parents, get them patient, trust the process, keep the kids motivated to come to practice, to want to get better, go out there in the game and execute under pressure. It's hard. Coaching is difficult, bro. And everybody think that's just you standing up there just calling a play and they're going to do exactly what you ask them to do, or you're going to put the right lineup out there and they're going to automatically just perform like every night the same way, and it just don't happen that way.
Yes, sir. Totally agree to that. What's something that you learned from your playing days that you use today?
I know how to win. Bro, I know how to pace a game. I know how to control a game. You know, I think, like, everybody got their own philosophy, and it's cool. Some people say, I'm not running no man-to-man, or I'm not running no zones, or, bro, we play fast. Like, it's a little bit of all of that, in my opinion, right? And I've been able to balance that and make my kids understand why it's important to have that, you know. Certain matchups might not call for you to go 100 miles an hour. Certain matchups might be where you can't play man-to-man. There may be some times in a game where your teammate might be in foul trouble and you're trying to protect them and you go in zone. There's a lot of different scenarios that, you know, allows me to make the decisions that I need to make to win. And trust me, a lot of times it might not even seem conventional to some a parent, a younger parent that don't really understand strategies in certain ways. They might not understand my philosophy on doing certain things. Like, for an example, in a youth game, right, in a youth basketball game, and you got 14 fouls and you need 10 of them to get into the 1-and-1. And you got some of your reserve players, it's 4 minutes in the game, you got some of your reserve players that you might want to go out and get some fouls. I don't want the kid that got 13 points who already got 3 fouls, but that kid just made a 3-pointer. The parent don't understand the strategy behind this, that you took your kid out, that just hit a 3 that put them down by 7, but we only got 14 fouls with 4 minutes to go now. I'm thinking ahead of the game. You understand? Those are the things on my end that becomes frustrating. Like, there's so much involved in coaching, strategies, different philosophies, and it's my job to do that. Let me coach. Win, lose, or draw, I'm betting on me, and I need everybody to trust and believe in me, because that energy can end up trickling over to the kids. They look at the coach, don't know what he's doing. I ain't gonna do it. I'm gonna do what my mom said, and then it's a disaster, right?
Yes, sir. So that leads me to my next question. How do you earn the trust of the players?
Being consistent. I'm at practice every day. I never miss a practice unless I'm completely sick. I'm sick, meaning sick, because I'll be sick and I'll still come in and stay away from everybody. I'm committed, right? And when they see that I'm showing up and I care, that not just I don't just care about winning, but I care about their development first, because this is their goal. I don't have a horse in the race, right? So they know, like, damn, coach really love us because he don't have a kid on the team. Coach married, right? He can be home with his wife or vacationing with his wife, but he traveling with us. Coach really do this for us. He not doing this for him. And when they see that, and it don't take long, they do anything for you, right? They trust you, and they do anything for you.
Okay. You said don't take long. What's long? Is
60 days for me, bro. You give me 2 months, bro, they board in.
Okay.
Guaranteed, because every kid's going to get treated the same. Everybody's held accountable. That's how I was brought up on the court. You don't make a sprint time, bro. The whole team got to go. You held accountable because you're only as good as your weakest link. On sharpens on. The tougher my weakest link become, the greater the team becomes. And the more that the weakest link want to develop and get better, the better the team becomes. And they all see that in real time as a family. Because now I don't have 8 kids, I got 10 kids, but I only got 7 of them coming to practice. So 3 of them aren't able to witness the fullness of the process and the development of everybody. Like, damn, this kid, I remember when she was scared or he was scared and he couldn't. Now, coach, after, he's all right. He can help us. And so we keep doing this as a team collectively. Man, how much better can we really be? Coach always say be great. Coach always say, like, why can't we be the number one team in the country? Like, I never, like, shortchanged the goal. Like, why not? Somebody got to be it. Like, why not us? And if we work like this and believe, then it can be us. And they run with it. Kids are sponges, man. And that's why I prefer to work with the younger kids, because they believe it. If you tell them and they believe in their coach, and I think y'all could be the best team in the country. What? For real? Now I'm going to work even harder. They believe it. And you start getting some kids who 13, 14, 15 years old, man, it's all about me. I know I'm nice. I'm already ranked. They ain't tripping about the other 4 players on the team, man. So.
Right. Okay. What makes a player coachable for Coach Bullock?
To pay attention to detail, right? Because that's how you get better. Like, I can watch a kid for 5 minutes and see what they're doing wrong and can help them fix it, right? But some kids are just stuck in their own way. They're comfortable doing certain things a certain kind of way. But I know I can transform your deficiencies into good habits where it's not hurting you or hurting your team, right? So as long as you're paying attention to detail and allow me to coach you and identify these things that you struggle with or that you can develop better and trust that, then I can coach you. Through all the mistakes. It might take you years to change some of the things that I identified. But the fact that you're trying,
right,
is all that matters to me.
Okay. So, beyond your playing years, Coach, define some of your wins and losses in life.
Oh, man. Let me tell you, bro. When I go back and think about, like, my early adulthood, I had one foot in the grave, right? I'm a living testimony of being seconds away from death, bro, right? I've been shot at for no reason, right? Just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I done put myself in bad situations, you know what I'm saying, over the years where, I don't sit back and really, like, talk a whole lot about life in the streets and stuff like that, right? Because it was a short stint for me. But that was a dark time in my life. I was lost. And so I, like, understand, like, for other kids growing up, how important certain age ranges are to kind of to have that support and guidance. And so 16 to 24 was a loss for me, like, completely in life, right? I'm trying to figure this thing out, man. I'm an athlete. I don't have a college scholarship. I'm working now a 9 to 5. Everybody out in the streets hustling in my neighborhood. You really ain't nobody if you're not an athlete or a hustler at that time. For real. Like, who are you? Right?
No identity.
No identity at all. So bro. Like, I'm not gonna be just no normie. So I had my little stints of just being outside. I'm outside. I'm partying. I'm doing everything that I want to do to get attention. The worst things that you can do, right? And so I'm glad that from a spiritual realm, man, I woke up, and God really showed me that life is precious, and anybody in a blink of an eye, it could be gone. And so you got to cherish it. You didn't come from a bad family. You wasn't taught to do these things to put you in these situations that could potentially lose your life or lose your freedom. So something just clicked. And now, from that point on, I look at things through a spiritual lens. Like, people may not see that. I don't know if they do or they don't. But everything that I do is through a spiritual lens. It's not about me. I've submitted and just allowed God to lead me every day. And so the way I process things is a little different. Everything is from a spiritual lens. It's not from a worldly point of view. And I thank God for that, for saving me. Basketball saved my life. So in terms of wins, for God to reveal his purpose to me at an early age, and for me to submit to allow God to use me, was the best thing I could have ever done in my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said that you started at 22, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you said from 16 and 24 was the kind of the darker times. So you started even when you weren't fully out of the mess yet, right?
Yeah.
And like a lot of us do, right? We start a process, and then that process is revealed to us what God wants us to be, the direction that God wants us to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, well, we thank God for saving you, from the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you turned out to be doing some great things, throughout the community. So,
Appreciate that.
yeah, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
What would you consider a heart of a champion, Coach?
A heart of a champion. So, perseverance, hard work, commitment, dedication. And anything that I've done and played, if it was at the smallest level, and win a championship, you sit back and you remember all the days of practice, right? That's the first thing to come back to your mind is the work that you put in, the commitment, not missing any practices, doing more than what was asked of you, during practice. After practice, you still doing extra. And then when you're in those moments to perform in a championship moment and do it because you thinking about, I prepared for this moment. This is why I was doing all this. And then be able to excel in those moments, right? That's what you do it for. That's where, I guess, the grit of competing to be the ultimate. You play the game to be a champion. You play the game to not just win games, but the ultimate thing is to win championships, right? So I've never looked at the regular seasons, you want to win. But when it's playoff time, that's the next season. That's when it all counts, and everything that built up from your workouts to your practices to all the games that you might have played prior to the playoffs or championship all builds up into preparation for that moment of being a champion. So I guess those words, being resilient, being a hard worker, being committed, being dedicated, being a visionary, thinking about that's what I'm about to be in that situation. I just want to be prepared. We could be the worst team in the conference, right? But everybody make the playoffs. And if you're on a team and you're on that worst team, your mindset should be thinking man, I'm just trying to get ready for the playoffs. Anything can happen. Right? Especially if you gifted, you one of those gifted players that you might could take a Michael Jordan and put a team on your back. Not saying he ain't have help, but you know that you special. Man, that's a spotlight for you to be able to really showcase a special, gifted player, right? If you approaching it in the right mindset.
Okay. Coach, how much does your faith play a role, in your training and the things that you do? You said that, spirituality plays, a big part, but, just a little more directly, how much, does it play a role for you?
Huge, bro. Because he done shown me. He done revealed what he can do, right? A person coming from nothing, zero. I didn't know what I was going to be doing with my life, bro. And I'm able to create my own job. I created my own occupation. It wasn't no paid trainers out here during the time I was growing up, right? So my faith, I sometimes I sit back and just laugh and be like, damn, God, like I now know why this was going on at this time. I understand why this was going on. Man, when I thought that it was going to be completely over, like something just snapped and just happened just like that. Like that's nobody but God could, nobody. So my faith is unwavered at nothing that in anything, bro. It's like I know He can, and I live by that, bro. Like again, I'm so tuned in that I feel sometimes like I live in a bubble, right? Like there's a worldly lens and there's a spiritual lens, and what's logic to a lot of people that I interact with might not be logical through my spiritual lens. And I just try to move accordingly and humbly and try to stay locked in and be able to discern right from wrong from the people that I interact with on a day-to-day basis, what to take in, what to kind of leave out. But strictly just guidance from God, like lead me, show me what to do, show me how to handle this situation, protect me while I'm going through this, give me strength, give me courage, because as we know in Baltimore, bro, it's tough. Like you really kind of like analyzing a lot of things, but when you have faith and you know God is present, you have the most peace to perform your purpose. I'm only doing what God called me to do. I'm trying to be the best version of myself, of who He made me to be. Anybody don't like that, shame on you, bro. Like I don't have no ill feelings for human beings, for mankind. So anybody like that's against that, I'm fireproof against people like that. They don't even exist. I don't see them. I hear you, feel you, but I'm not interacting. I'm straight ahead. That's just me.
Okay. What is one of the coaches' go-to messages or sayings? One is something that one of the kids know all the time. They know that coach gonna give it to them in the huddle or even in the training session.
They're gonna always say, well, everybody know I say this. Good is not good enough. Be great. Good is not good enough. Be great. 3, be great. And that's what I believe, because it's levels. Everybody can play basketball and be amongst the community, but very few can rise above. And it's just a thought process. It's not necessarily the skill or physical ability to do it.
Mental.
For sure.
Okay. Take us through a game that you wish you could have back, Coach.
Basketball?
Any of them. You done played multiple sports. You done coached multiple games.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, take us to the one game that you can think of right now that you wish you could have back.
Simple. This is easy. Baseball, right? The only year I played in Little League. No team prior to that year had went undefeated, right? And again, there's a big anticipation about me playing. The youngest Bullock about to play. So I don't want to say it was pressure, it was the opportunity. Again, the spotlight is on me, right? So my team, along with myself, we went undefeated. 12-0. First team in 22 years, something like that, to go undefeated, right? So, man, that's on my resume. My family feel great about that. Boom, boom, boom. But we get into the playoffs, and we was in a tight game against one of the better teams, right? Knew we could beat them. But it was a tie game in the 6th inning, last inning in Little League is 6th inning. It's a runner on second base with 1 out, and it's a tie game, like 5-5. And I'm coming up. Man, I know I'm on. And it's the bottom of the 6. We the home team.
Okay.
Man, I know. And I'm 2 for 3 that game.
Okay.
Man, I get up, get the digging in. Umpire said, whoa, game is going to be suspended. It's too dark. We're going to have to resume this game in the morning.
Oh, man. Oh, man. He was ready, too.
Man. So I'm go home. I'm amped up all night long, bro. I'm sitting in I can't sleep. Man, I know who they throwing. I know they pitching this dude. I know what he going to do. Man, I'm trying to hit a home run and end it. That'd be perfect, right? My brother had this bat that I used to work, when we was practicing, I would use his bat, but he would never let me use the bat while I was playing in the league for whatever reason. Nah, yo, you can't use my bat. No, hell no, you can't use the bat. So that whole night I begged him, bro, you gotta let me hold this bat. He said, man, go ahead. I said, run on second base. What up, bro? What you gotta let me hold this bat. He gave me the bat. Morning rise, sunrise. I'm already up 6 o'clock in the morning. We gotta be out there at 9 o'clock to resume the game. Resume the game, run on second base, 1 out, I'm up. I popped up, bro.
Oh,
I was
man.
so anxious.
Oh, my
I was
goodness.
so anxious. I mean, major league pop up
Right.
though. I just missed it.
Oh, my goodness.
The first baseman ran all the way out to right field. It was so high. He ran all the way out to right. Normally the right fielder, the worst player on the team. But the right fielder, the first baseman ran all the way out to right field. It wasn't that far out.
Damn.
And caught it. Right? So 2 outs. Next guy come out, get out. And they came up and scored 2 runs. And we came back and didn't score. Bro, I cried for over 48 hours, bro. Crushed me. We're undefeated, but lost in the playoffs.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
You had the chance to end it.
Had a chance to end it.
Damn, yeah, that was I'm about to cry for you, man. Damn.
Yeah.
Damn, I feel you on that one, man. Coach, how has coaching changed you as a person?
I don't think it's really changed me, bro. I think it's all but I think coaching is like being a father figure. You know what I'm saying? I love people, especially kids. I've always loved kids. Just want to help people, right? And this is just my natural habitat. Put me in this position to be around people and just talk and share with them what I know. It's what I'm good at. It's what I'm comfortable doing. You put me somewhere else, I'll probably flunk, But I think all my life, this is what I've been called to do, right? Help kids through sports. And so you put me in this environment, you kind of watching me in my natural personality as well. Yeah, so I don't think it's changed me too much. I think it's molded me outside of the court. You know what I'm saying? It's made me be a better person outside of the court. More patient. Just in life in general, just not being in a rush. Just allow days to stack up by staying focused and see what I've seen in basketball start manifesting in my own personal life by just being consistent and doing some things.
Okay. Coach, what is your most important comeback?
Most important comeback. Let's see here. Dang. I remember a lot of different baseball games, bro. We was down big, being on really good teams. And when you're on good teams like that, everybody never believes they out of it. Nobody believes they're out of it. You could be down 10-0, third inning, but you're a good team, and like everybody, like, man, all right, let's just peck away. Just peck away. Just, get 2 runs this inning, get another 2, peck away. Then when you start seeing that momentum shift, the teams start getting tight. The other teams start getting tight. You start able to witness that. And it just gives you more belief, more faith that you can do it. And so I've been in a lot of turnarounds, situations where we were down in baseball games, and even in other sports. But nothing that really kind of stands out to me in basketball or football. But in baseball, plenty of times we was down, man, come back big, and other teams is looking at us like.
What's the biggest run comeback you can think
10-0.
of?
I remember, like, in this, we was playing the Pressman Cardinals. That was a big time program, and this is like the semi-pro type of thing, like what you would call the baseball version of the Brunson League.
Okay.
Right. So Pressman, they got guys who don't play professional ball in the minor leagues. That was a good team, great pitching, solid program all around the board. So they typically ain't gonna lose a 10-0 lead. You know what I'm saying?
Because they're nice.
They nice. But we had, our teams that we had growing up, as adults, like, they were minor league caliber teams. Some of those guys definitely could have played professionally.
Okay, so you walked them back for 10. What was the final score?
Probably like 12-10, something like that. They
Okay.
ain't scoring no more.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. 12,
Okay,
13.
okay. I gotta check you out, man. I gotta get some of that old footage, man.
Yeah.
Gotta get some of that old footage.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what is your proudest moment as a coach?
So, it's a couple of things that stand out. I know St. Francis experience was amazing. And winning the MIAA BCL, beating some top-ranked teams in the country that year. It's a big stage, some solid players, high-level players. When I started at St. Francis, first 2 years we didn't win. Well, we won, but we lost in the championships, in the playoffs. And I was like, man, the third year was like, a lot of returners that was there from when I first got there. We all went through the same story, the same losses. We understood what it took. We was beating ourselves. We 6 for 18 from the free throw line, and 9 turnovers in the first half, and 22 turnovers in a game. All the talent in the world, but the little small details wasn't important to those teams when they were young. When they saw that those things were causing us to lose and not being the best version of ourselves, came in my last year that I was there in a completely different mindset. Everybody knew, we got locked in, bro. We can't beat ourselves. These teams not better than us, and we won it. So it was great to see that process unfold, right, at that level. And then, like, for my own side, and I was an assistant coach. At that time, Nick was the head coach. Nick Miles, he was the head coach the third year I was there, and when we won it. But as a head coach, everybody wanted to be takeover, right? Like girls or boys. So I remember my 2026 graduating class, which was this year's graduating class. Nobody thought we was going to be takeover. My sixth grade. And that's sixth grade basketball, bro. That's a milestone for us because it's just the way that it went. They weren't a good team in the beginning, but once we beat them, once we beat Takeover, their confidence went through the roof. And I'm talking about that was I had 5 girls. All 5 of those girls were Division I players, just recruits and signees. So they had it. They didn't know they had it. Nobody thought we was going to win. The parents, nobody. But when we won that game, it changed everything. It was so just watching the parents be like, oh my God, and the kids being like, oh my God. Just to have them experience that level of success for them was a great moment for me.
Okay. So we have this segment, Coach, called I Would Do Anything.
Mm-hmm.
So in full, it says I would do anything to beat these SOBs. So you're going to tell us about the team, program, group, or what have you that you would do anything to beat. This is one of your rival clubs or, something close. We're going to look at the camera, point at the camera, and we're going to let them SOBs know who they are.
Basketball?
Whoever.
Whoever.
So I would do anything to beat. You go ahead and give us a little story about these SOBs. A little background.
Yes, so they clearly understand who I'm talking to. You SOBs. The Black Sox, right? Black Sox, that was the rivalry on the baseball side of it, right? Even though eventually we dismantled them. They left. They stopped playing baseball and they went to play softball, right? But we had some great moments. We battled. There were some days where they got the best of us. Some days we got the best of them. Some great rivalry games, man. If I had to say what the record is, we're probably up on them like 20-10. You know what I mean? But those losses were painful.
Mm-hmm.
So if we ever had a chance to play them in a pickup softball game or something like that, I'd love to beat you something.
Okay. Yes, sir. Okay. Coach, when it's all said and done, what would you want your legacy to be?
Well, really, what I really want more than anything, right? This is part of my prayer, is God to allow people to see something in me that will draw them closer to Him, right? Even in my shortcomings, right? My intentions is always to do what's pleasing in God's eyes. And I know I'm not perfect, and I know I fall short, but I try to every day be a great person to people. Even in my worst days, when I don't feel like it, that I stay consistent at treating people the way that I want to be treated. And that's only through the grace of God, through what the Spirit of God, that He's placed in me to be able to have the same kind of love that He has for people, to rub off on me, to be able to share it to the world, right? So that's the legacy, bro. Like, grow, like, be grounded spiritually. You know what I'm saying? To be able to be that support and that comfort and that hope to be whatever you want to be, with Him being first, right? And if one person can get that, then one person may be able to minister to the world and get millions to follow. It don't have to be 200 people that see God in me. It might be one.
Right. And
He could impact millions. And if that happens, man, life has been more than what I could have ever imagined. Because it's more than I could ever imagine. So I'm just grateful that He's put me in position to impact and share. That's pretty much it.
Alrighty. Coach Bullock, man, we thank you for being here today, man.
My man.
Give me 1 second, Coach.
Yep.
I'll get you up out of here. Coach.
Yes, sir.
On behalf of the crew channel
Oh, man.
and the coach's corner, I'd like to present you with your flowers, baby, and a golden whistle, man.
God bless you, bro.
Deserve it, man.
I appreciate it. Man,
Yeah.
put it on right now, champ.
Yeah.
I got it.
Appreciate you, man. Keep on doing what you're doing,
sure,
man. Let
for
me
sure.
get a picture, Coach.
All right.
You the man.
Thank you, bro.
Coach Bullock. So, you know, all they talk about nowadays is mental health. Mental health, mental health, mental health, mental health, that. So, you know, you like I said, around that time, you probably like 17, 18.
Yeah.
Coming from starting, you know, how did that affect you, you know?
That's what I'm saying. It took away from me kind of loving the play. Because, I mean, I love basketball. That's all I did, you know what I mean? So, when the situation didn't go like I thought it should go, being a kid, not having sometimes you need somebody to be like, man, you need to suck that shit up, or you need to, and I'm not saying I didn't have it, but it wasn't the same.